It's Madmen Sports. Your Buffalo Bills have won their first playoff game since 1995.
I was 9.
2 thumbs up.
The Buffalo Bills hosted the Indianapolis Colts. Some would say snuck out with a win. Big controversy at the end with a failed Hail Mary. How you guys doing?
Jake, listen, I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. I need you not to touch that.
Zach, how are you?
Stressed. I'm still stressed. What a
You're always stressed.
What a terrible weekend to be stressed out. Long work week, first week of the month, back to work after the holidays. And then you get the weekend, you're finally like, oh, relax.
I'm glad it was a Saturday game.
Saturday was as stressful as I don't know. I don't know what I would do if it was a Sunday game. That was the most stressful game I've watched in a long time.
It was stressful to root for the Steelers tonight.
Which they shit the bed.
Yeah, I mean, they were who we thought they were. Steelers are no bueno.
Which unfortunately makes our win against them a little less impressive. But, I'll take it.
I don't care about that. It's a new time. Playoffs are a new time.
Yeah, 1-0, baby. I'll take this every day. Frank Reich, let's talk about some of his decisions he made. Some bad decisions. Coming out of the half, 2-minute warning. Should have went for it.
He blamed the analytics.
I believe he went for a field goal there. Was that a missed field goal there?
Yep. And then he
went for it, 4th down. He went for a corner of the end zone touchdown.
Yes, but remember the beginning of the game, they were at our 41-yard line, and
punted.
they punted.
Listen, Frank Reich played themselves out of this game. He coached. He got outcoached. As crazy as that is, the Bills got outplayed, the Colts got outscored, and Frank Reich got outcoached. This was a very stressful game. Listen, time of possession lopsided all game. Yards ended up being almost exact. Listen. When you can get
We're listening.
outcoached, you can get outplayed. You can have all these facets. I don't think it was Brian Dable's best game, for crying out loud. He had some questionable decisions.
Yeah, the first half.
Yeah, you lost Zach Moss, who's probably your best running back. They're all the same to me. You know my motto.
Antonio Williams.
Dime a dozen. But you lose some key players. You kind of get behind. They were losing at one point, for crying out loud, against a team that, that hasn't felt adversity in a long time. The Buffalo Bills have been riding a wave, if you would say, for a while now. And the first face of adversity in over a month, I'd say. They came to task. They played. This is what makes a good team a good team.
Yeah, it definitely was a humbling experience. You're used to the Bills putting 56 points up against the Miami Dolphins to kick them out of the playoffs, having 4 straight primetime games. And for the Bills, to your point, facing adversity for the first time in a long while. And I would even say we barely faced adversity against that Arizona game.
Week, yeah.
Since way before that, since the Colts, since the Titans, since we really had a formidable opponent where we didn't kick the dog shit out of them.
Well, the Cardinals game they lost.
Right, but
That's a hell of a lot of adversity.
I wouldn't even say that it is adversity due to the fact that it was
They're undefeated since that.
a crazy play. It's not like they had to be resilient in the fact of we're
You're
down.
talking
we
like
come
game
up.
time adversity.
Yeah,
I get that.
Yeah, I mean, hat goes off to the Colts. They played their balls off.
Without a doubt.
Rivers, everyone talked about how he's a statue and
He carved him.
can't play much. He tore our defense apart. Our defense had some shiny moments at the end. Trey White's fumble, which I don't remember, was that called by the ref? Yeah, was that called by White? Recovered it.
Dog shit.
The refs almost screwed us out of that again. I'm so glad they didn't, because I don't want a whole offseason of talking about
That play
how
still bothers
we
me.
hate the refs.
I don't really. Let's talk about that play, because I don't really care how the game ended up. That play is a huge problem.
Yeah, that I thought was just going to be one of those things, a classic Bills-ism. You have a call that is so overwhelmingly one way where it's cut and dry. And then the refs, for some reason, don't see it.
Exactly. After all the stuff, we had to stop and rewatch. I mean, every time Gabriel Davis touched the ball, we had to stop, review it. We reviewed it 4 times on one drive, I believe, on that last drive before
all the
they
toe
tied it up.
touches.
I mean, there was 4 reviews on that play, and McDermott has to go out. I mean,
You had to call a timeout.
he had to call a timeout in order to even get that play looked at. I mean, after everything. I mean, that's a game-deciding play. And they didn't even end up getting to the bottom of it, to the right play. That's what bothers me the most. And I'll tell you what,
Not even
NFL.
bring it up.
Oh, they talked quite a bit about it. I mean, not even that. Everyone that was CBS, people in New York, they were all saying that it was clearly a fumble. I mean, I had someone at the game texting me, hey, is that a fumble? And I said, 100%.
Yep.
And when they came down to it, it wasn't a fumble, but I can't wrap my brain around it. You know what, NFL, you owe the Bills one.
Well, it happened all over the league. You watch the Browns game tonight. There was tons of questionable calls. You watch the Titans Ravens game.
Nothing as big as that.
The refs can't get this together about the whole league, and it's going to start costing teams playoff games. The refs need to get this. If they need to call New York for every single questionable call, do it, because they need to get this under control.
New York didn't even get this one right. This was a travesty of a play. I can't even. The fact that they still walked away from like a 10-minute review, which if they had to take 10 minutes to review it, you should have looked at it to begin with. Why does it take a timeout? Why can't you get the call right afterwards? And then they went back on Twitter, tried saying that this is the correct call. They doubling down on it is the worst part. And listen, those delay of games. What were we talking about with zeros? I mean, they built a whole minute off of extra time after having the zeros come up after the delay of games. I mean, the Colts and the refs, good job to the Bills. After years and decades of, we lost to the Patriots and the refs. You know what? The Bills beat the refs and the Colts.
Yeah, the delay of game is such a weird thing because you watch every game and every team has delay of games. It's one of those things that we're past the point. We're a really good football team. We're past the point of finding these delay of games, these little bullshit little penalties that should be called. We're too good of a football team to use those excuses anymore. But yesterday there was more than 3 or 4 delay of games that should have been called, and they weren't because, again, you watch the other games, you watch our game. Pass interference isn't even a thing this weekend. Pass interference never got called that I saw out of any game. All season, questionable pass interference calls. There wasn't any. There wasn't any holding called. It was all pathetic. The refs just threw it all out the window, let the boys play this weekend. They picked a weird time to do so.
I agree.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm out.
No, I mean, listen, you talk about all of it. The Bills, 2 seed, home team. Dable not on his A game. Defense not on their A game. Refs kind of going against them. All this piling up. You know what? Josh Allen probably has. I don't know. I don't remember every Kelly game. Never. I don't look up every stat of everything that's ever happened. Josh Allen probably had the most dominating game I've ever seen a Bills quarterback have in the playoffs, bar none. 324 passing yards. 2 passing touchdowns, 54 rushing yards, and a touchdown.
They did beat Oakland 53-3 once.
Yeah, but that was a complete game from the team.
I'm
talking about Josh Allen as a Buffalo Bills quarterback completely controlling a game. And anytime he needed a big play, he would just figure it out, find a way. He got running. 54 rushing yards, probably the most he's had all season. I didn't look it up beforehand, but what a stellar game by Josh Allen. Listen, if you have any questions or doubts about Josh Allen, this guy is definitely a top 5 quarterback. He might be top 4 player in the NFL right now. He is fantastic.
I think the most impressive thing about him, Zach, is you looked at the game. You saw Beasley, Diggs. Those guys were hurting. Those guys were in pain. And Allen still had confidence in those guys to throw Beasley balls and throw Diggs balls. And he was very successful doing so. Gabe Davis with the tiptoe catches, those were amazing. He's just got so much confidence, and his receiving core is just that damn good. John Brown, we're not even talking about him because he didn't do much because he didn't need to do much. Allen played a all-around well game. He had one questionable thing at the end with the fumble, which he should have just went down.
Darrell Williams, big play.
But still, you can't complain. He played probably one of his top 3 best games as a Buffalo Bill.
Absolutely. Do you guys have a defensive MVP of the game? I mean, they struggled. They definitely struggled. Not a lot of pass rush. They had a guy who retired last year.
Jake, what do you got?
Right tackle.
I'm going to be honest. I don't think, other than some plays at the end, I don't think that there was a specific player to stand out to me. I mean, I think the safeties played very well. Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde had 2 dropped interceptions really early in the game.
Yeah,
I don't think it was the best game from the defense. I think that the Colts were in the game to win the entire game, and that's not something we're necessarily accustomed to seeing. But if I had to give one, I'd give it to both the safeties. I think they played a solid game. They didn't beat us deep too much. That might be part of the game plan by the Colts, just due to the fact that I don't think Phillip Rivers has the arm that he once had, so I'd go with safeties.
Yeah, I mean, all game, Milano was there in every single play. Edmonds was there. I think they both collected 10 tackles each. It was 9 at one point, but I think they ended up getting 10. My player of the game, and he had some questionable plays, and at one point it was like, he's going to blow this for us. He's been so good all year. It's Trey White. Trey White was still that damn good. He recovered the fumble at the end. He broke a couple important passes up at the end. He had a very good run defense stop. If I recall, that was him. There wasn't a whole lot. Again, there was no pass rush. There's things to improve there. McDermott will tell you that himself. There was no pass rush. We need to fix that, although the Colts have a very good offensive line. I think Hyde and Poyer let some big plays up towards the end. They bat down the Hail Mary. That was the most important thing. But in my opinion, Trey White was my defensive player of the game. But it's very tough because no one really stood out.
It's weird because the Bills seem to play like a really soft zone the entire game, which is a weird kind of thing to do when you know Phillip Rivers doesn't have a cannon of an arm.
Yeah.
So you gave up a lot of dink and dunk passes, and that's kind of what we were expecting coming in. A lot of Jonathan Taylor, a lot of Hines. You're going to see a lot of those, and I think that's kind of we played into that, and I think that's a possibility and kind of a reason to why the Colts were in the game for so long. But
who's your defensive player of the game, Zach?
I just think Milano made so many big plays and some key moments that Milano has to probably walk away from this game as defensive MVP in my book. But listen, when you're letting Phillip Rivers carve you guys up like a Christmas turkey, that is no good for me. You have to put your feet in the ground. Bend but don't break works, but you also, I mean, think about it. You got a kicker missing a 33-yard field goal, and that's the only difference from making you tied at the end. You know what I mean? Like, You got to be better at the bend it but don't break. Next week, huge game that you need to bend it, not break. You need to stick them right in the mud.
Yeah, and that's one of the things
or in the snow
that I was going to rant about was you look at the Colts. Colts still ran all over us. I don't know what the totals were there.
I don't think so. I don't think Jonathan Taylor even had 100 yards.
Well, Hines had a big game. They had some big runs there. I don't have my phone with me.
He did have some larger runs. I will say that Taylor did not have the game I thought he would, honestly.
He definitely didn't have the 253-yard game.
No,
and the game
for
was
sure.
in reach to run. It would have made sense to run the entire game.
Absolutely. I definitely think that the Bills' run defense kind of stood to task a little bit, but it was really weird because their passing defense, which is usually their strength, is not that great. Yeah, Taylor 21 for 78. That's
not that good.
That's not what you usually see out of a guy like him. So I would say that the Bills' run defense kind of stood to task, and they might need to next week. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah,
they'll need to bring their motherfucking
run
A
first
game.
Do you think Ray McLeod's eligible to be signed?
No, because he's with the Steelers.
I know that, but
I'll tell you what, Isaiah McKenzie though.
Yeah.
Throw him back there.
If people don't remember,
Him and Davis.
Ray McLeod emulated
Well, actually, to
Lamar
bring,
Jackson.
Talked about that tonight. That's
to bring a
crazy.
topic like that up, Zach Moss being out, do the Bills use Yeldon more? Do they bring
I think
Jake's boy Antonio up?
I think they'll bring Antonio Williams up.
Banderas?
I think you bring him up, but I think you need to use Yeldon. Yeldon's a pass catcher too. He's been here for so long. If he's not that good enough, get him off the damn roster.
Yeah, I think Yeldon is a viable option for sure. Listen, Devin Singletary definitely deserves a good look here. I mean, let Devin spin. I mean, even when Zach went down, you go to Devin as a safety valve. He was picking up first downs when you definitely needed him there. I trust Devin Singletary to kind of take the reins over. Do you guys want to keep talking about this game, or do you guys want to do a mini preview and talk about what's going on this weekend?
Well, when are we meeting again? Wednesday?
Well, there's one thing I want to say about Devin
We
Singletary.
could do Tuesday.
Devin Singletary is used to having such a big workload. If you remember in college, had a crazy, obscene amount of
399,
carries.
I believe.
They used him as a workhorse, and I don't see that he won't be able to stand up to the task next week.
I think his biggest problem is the same thing he's never fixed, is holding on to the ball. He needs to hold on to the ball.
I don't think he has more than one fumble this year.
I'll tell you what, though. Let's talk about Devin Singletary going forward, because we will. You guys want to do Tuesday nights, or is that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday?
Yeah.
Okay, because the Bills play 8:15 p.m. Saturday night against the Baltimore Ravens. Early, Doppler's saying 2 to 3 inches of snow during game time. We're looking at about lake effect all night.
It's your thing, Jake. You're the weather guy.
Not by choice.
And I'll be honest, I think the weather favors the Bills.
I don't think it favors anybody.
I think it definitely favors the Bills.
There's no
Argument.
competitive advantage.
There normally isn't. I think against the Ravens, there's definitely a favor. Because I don't think Lamar Jackson's arm is strong enough to fight through the weather. I don't think that Beasley, Brown, and Diggs are not going to be able to shake cornerbacks in this weather. Listen, when it comes to running, Lamar Jackson's never played in the snow before. Period. College, Baltimore, no matter what, it's never played in snow. Those guys are cutters. Lamar Jackson's best thing is speed and cutting. As we saw in that Colts game 2-3 years ago, when you got a lot of snow on the ground, cutting is pretty much out the window. you pretty much get cement feet when it comes to Lamar Jackson, and that's really what you need. I think Bills versus Ravens, give me all the snow, pile it on, let Josh Allen's big hands, big arm, even his speed and size. Let's really let Josh Allen rip this game.
You ever played Lamar Jackson on Madden?
No.
Almost too good.
I haven't played Madden in a moment.
Well, he's on the cover, so.
To be fair, I played on rookie, but I ran the ball with him every single time. He had 467
He's
yards and
Michael
7
Vick.
touchdowns.
When Michael Vick was in his prime.
It's too good. If you ever just want to spam on Madden, just play as Lamar Jackson.
Am I kind of giving you a little bit of convincing with this weather?
Yeah,
I mean,
I
you get
just
snow on the ground.
I just
Lamar
get
Jackson's
triggered when
eliminated.
people talk about competitive advantages in the snow and why we don't need a dome. That just
100%.
triggers me.
Listen, you want me to speak? I'm talking dome every day. You want me to talk about Lamar
I'm not.
Jackson in snow?
Situational, sure, but I'm saying as an
100%.
overall competitive advantage, the Bills do not
No.
have an overall
I am
competitive advantage.
anti-dome 100%.
Well, I'm anti-you. I'm just kidding.
Actually,
And we'll talk about that off camera.
I love dome.
Wait, why? You upset? Let's talk about it on camera, man. All of our friends are here.
Guys,
Well, my biggest thing was I was going to give you a fun fact. You want a fun fact?
Yo, top. What?
Uh,
Free top?
put a top on it.
Diggs' childhood team, or growing up, was the Baltimore Ravens.
He's from that area.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He also
Maryland.
went to college.
That's
in
a
Maryland.
that's a fun. I think it's fun.
You upset with me?
No, get off.
Listen, guys. Guys.
Tell
As we're talking
Father
about the water
Snowman.
cooler stuff, Monday,
I'm
Tuesday,
happy as can be.
we'll be back on Wednesday, so don't worry. But here, you listen to Madmen Sports. Here's your water cooler going forward. We want snow. We want Lamar Jackson to have stone feet. J.K. Dobbins also not a bruiser.
Ingram was inactive today.
Mark Ingram might not play. I think he might play in this situation.
Oh,
Gus
but
Edwards is a bruiser.
I'm just kidding. I don't want
And
to die.
I'll tell you what, Lamar Jackson's arm cannot stand this weather. You know who's built for this? Wyoming gunslinger and Josh.
Lamar Jackson can't even throw to the sidelines on a crystal clear
roast
day.
his ass. He'll go in his
Yo,
DMs just
Jake.
like it did to Darius Leonard.
Jake, go on a rant about Lamar.
Yo, throw to the sideline one time. Boy.
Yo, shout out to Darius Leonard.
Yo, fuck that dude.
well, what
I
we should
DM'd
do
him
is
Sharman.
Soft.
we and I'm not going to do
he's
this. So I
soft.
don't know why I was suggesting this, but we should talk about last year's game that I don't remember too well when we lost to the Ravens by 6 points.
John Brown
Let's do it Tuesday.
host.
Let's do it Tuesday.
It got
Save a little bit of.
batted away.
Save a little bit.
I
of
remember
our
that play. Do you remember that play? That last play on the Baltimore Ravens game last year? Post.
Hey, that's part of Josh Allen's maturation
we
process.
we did
hitting that one.
We
this
did
year.
hold Lamar Jackson
to
to his
40
lowest
40
yardage all
yards
year last year.
I think it was like 40 something yards.
and 145 passing.
Yeah.
Remember when he took the Under Armour off?
Yeah.
Or put it
he took
on or
the
something?
sleeves off or
Yeah.
put them on. No, I think you took them off.
You guys
Yeah.
have a good memory. I don't remember any of this.
One time. It was an important game. It was a big game. Do you think we're going to hear a lot about the 2018 draft class? I mean, you have
We
three
did
players.
Oh, I got that written down. All right. Let's talk about it. I mean, the AFC's going through a rebirthing right now.
Mayfield.
Yeah.
Mahomes 25, Baker Mayfield 25, Lamar Jackson 24, Josh Allen 24. Listen, the times of this being
Poor
Manning,
Sam Darnold.
yeah, or Rosen. The times of this being Manning, Roethlisberger,
And John Madden.
yeah, I mean
Chris
Tom
Bartman.
Brady, and then throw whoever, Jake Plummer. I don't know who's the fourth guy back then, but
Tim
this,
Tebow.
this used to be someone else's AFC. This is the new gunslinger.
Well, for years it was Rivers, Big Ben,
Rivers.
Peyton, and Tom
yeah,
Brady.
I guess Rivers could be the fourth guy there, or Breeze for a little bit. The Chargers.
Changing of the guard is in.
It's done.
It's crazy that
It's happened.
Storm is
three
coming.
of the quarterbacks taken in that draft class are all in the playoffs.
How about the Lamar or Deshaun Watson news today?
Oh, possibly
shakes me to the core a little
Dolphins. I know. I was thinking that he might go to the Patriots, but going to the Dolphins,
I
All
don't
are-
think,
all are bad.
I think
Yeah.
the Steelers' performance and after the game today,
Big Ben's done.
Zach and I are watching. Sorry, Jake, the game, and apparently Roethlisberger sat on the bench pouting after the game for some time.
Yeah, he threw a pick to.
I
it's
think he was
probably his last game, so that could be a place where Deshaun Watson go. The only reason it wouldn't be a
How
place
did you
Deshaun
not
Watson
see
go
that guy?
is because whoever gets Deshaun Watson is in salary cap hell. Dolphins have a lot of money to spend. Steelers do not.
Actually, I would say that the Dolphins don't have enough money to spend. They have a lot of money tied up in those two corners there.
Byron Jones.
well, they
Yeah,
also
Byron
have
Jones
two
has
first-round
got a $100
picks.
million contract, I think.
Yeah.
well, I mean, Deshaun Watson is kind of one of those once in a you got to get him kind of players.
Tell that to Houston.
And I also saw rumors that there's rumors that rumors are saying Andrew Luck might come back out of
No,
retirement.
he won't. Who's a worse?
fake news.
What's a worse organization, the New York Jets or the Texans?
Texans.
Texans dug themselves quite a hole.
How do you
Jets
go?
have a good
like
place to set
you
up
were in
here.
the division, like in the divisional game in the playoffs last year. You get rid of your
Hopkins for nothing, for peanuts.
and then you basically destroy Deshaun Watson.
Pretty much. the Texans reset the market for wide receivers by lowballing it so we can get Diggs for a very fair
Shout out
price.
to the guy that we had on our podcast that one time.
And
though.
JJ Watt's yelling at his team.
Do we
all
get
the time.
some? Do we get a
Locked on
Ravens?
Texans, I'm pretty sure.
Do we get a Ravens podcast on?
Who's that guy from last year?
Frank the Tank.
No.
No, don't bring him out.
Jerry
He doesn't-
Coleman.
Frank the Tank doesn't like me.
Freddie Coleman?
No, Jerry Coleman.
Oh,
Yo, give-
Jerry Coleman.
Let's get Jerry
DM
Coleman.
him. Let's DM him. Get Jerry Coleman on the
his
podcast.
DMs are open because he
We
talked to us.
podcasted him. Remember
Yeah.
I messaged him. Remember
If the
he was
Bills
like,
win.
if they get the opportunity to play the Ravens, which both teams lost in the first round,
Yeah.
then I'll go on your show.
Buffalo's most hated. Let's get Jerry. We're gonna get Jerry Coleman on the pod, ladies and gentlemen, and Lee Smith. They're gonna fight
Jake, who's
in the studio.
Hey Jerry, will you come on our show?
That guy-
our show's right over here, Jerry.
The big red or whoever wants us to break this table, Lee Smith is gonna crack Jerry Coleman's head.
And then use the pieces of the table.
I don't have Twitter. Who's this Coleman?
Hopefully Jerry Coleman.
he
comes on.
talked some heavy
Is that the guy
shit
that everyone has memes about?
the Bills. No, that's Nick Wright. He talked heavy shit about the Bills last year. They called like Buffalo like a super sad city or
Yeah,
something.
he
like
was
that.
pretty.
are.
He was pretty damning against Del Reed.
I'm just kidding. Yeah, Del Reed's our savior.
But let's get him on and have him talk about the Ravens. You
Also-
know what? I don't want him on anymore.
Fuck that guy.
Give
I
Frank
like
the Tank.
I like talking shit about the Colts last week. I want to talk shit about the Ravens this week. We had
Actually,
to
the
be
Colts fans were nice. They were very polite.
They're pretty cool.
we had to be very rude or nice to Houston fans last year. I could have been. I was a little razzing of the Colts fans this year.
Yeah, you kind of gave him a little bit of top.
What time are we at here?
21 minutes.
That's plenty for me,
Is there
guys.
anything else you want to talk about, Jake?
We're
No,
gonna be
I'm
back
good.
on in 2 days.
I broke my back yesterday. Chiropractor.
I broke my back.
Go see a chiropractor if you need
Jake
one.
partied and celebrated so hard he broke his back.
I didn't. I was cleaning out my car and I pivoted
You
weird,
don't have to get guilty to people.
and I couldn't
your real life
stand.
stuff.
Guys, honestly, thoughts and prayers that I get tickets tomorrow.
Oh shit! Yeah, I got
1:30.
2 chiro appointments this week, man.
I have no news for anybody. Sorry.
Thoughts and prayers I get to go to the game. I'll live stream for you guys at the game.
Thoughts and prayers. I don't.
Do I need Twitter for
a
that?
spinal fusion. No, I'm
No,
just
you
kidding.
need YouTube. Well, I will
Can you
live
do
stream
that?
from halftime. What did you say?
Oh, from halftime. I thought you meant just the whole game.
No.
You want tickets?
Well, technically it's my game, so it's my freed. So
Oh,
no,
shit.
but I'm gonna try to do that.
Do it. That'd be tight.
I'll do a halftime show at the stadium if I can get tickets. So please try to get tickets. If you're ahead of the 1:30 slot tomorrow, just don't sign in, please.
Just stop. Let Zach have that one time. All right,
I
guys.
have nothing going on, guys. Sorry.
Diamond.
Phillip Rivers going for 309 yesterday. Yesterday. Wouldn't expect that.
Jake,
Josh
take
went
us
for
home.
324, right? Yo,
Josh,
hit us.
324.
Give us a like on Facebook, Twitter, whatever.
Instagram. It doesn't actually
We're gonna do a
matter.
live stream on Friday. I know you boys like that.
I'll be
Peace.
on.